I welcome you with all my heart. We spend this moment together in time in satsang. Satsang is supposed to mean something like a meeting in truth, but that's too elevated. That's too abstract. I prefer to say that we come to meet in love. And if there's any truth here, so be it. If not, so be it. Today I wanted to talk about the experience, the feel of Shakti and her relationship with human love and divine love. Got to realize this is a story, and it's meant to induce in you some experience of Shakti. I think I've mentioned this before, but I began feeling Kundalini back in the late 60s when I left my job. I left Cleveland and started meditating full time. I felt the Kundalini like a pencil with a sharp point in my spine, rising very, very slowly and painfully over several weeks and months in my spine, and stopping for a long, long time around my heart with this very painful pencil rising upwards through my heart chakra, then finally into my head and out the top of my head by burrowing a hole in my skull. Then after a while, Shakti kept in, or the Kundalini kept rising in my spine, going by my skull and then down my face, my throat, and into my heart. And I began experiencing all kinds of Kundalini-style experiences. But Kundalini is really only a subset of a more general class or name or story about Shakti, which I like also to call the life force. And Shakti creates beingness, which allows you to perceive the external world as well as your body, the subtle body. And beingness itself is very still, has no names, no thoughts, no emotions. It's the ground state of beingness. But Shakti also operates in this beingness, in this vast emptiness, the background of all existence, both as your own soul, so to speak, Holy Ghost, so to speak, Atman, so to speak, and once you know her directly, she fills you with bliss. elevate your life into a different dimension. Shakti follows love. Wherever love is, Shakti is there on top of it like a moth on a light, just absorbing the energy of love into herself. Whatever you choose to love, whether you're aware of it or not, Shakti jumps to that person or that animal and carries your love to that person or animal. And you can feel that person from the inside. And that person can feel you directly, heart to heart. Once you become sensitive enough and know how to know Shakti. Shakti is generally used in a gender term, like she. That was not my initial experience at all. Shakti to me had no gender. She arose in me as light and force and power and bliss. And exploded in me and went everywhere, throughout the whole world. But recently, just recently, because I had always regarded Shakti as an it, and instead I decided to make or build a personal relationship with Shakti. And the easiest way for me was to imagine Shakti as a she. And as soon as that happened, once again, everything unfolded in a different way. Now I feel Shakti loves me, loves to be around me, like a very attentive handmaiden, waiting for me to pay attention to her, and her attending to me in my every want, filling me with a sense of love and being loved. I feel Shakti like this. She is an energy within me, all throughout my whole body, but with the origin in my hara, my lower gut. She rises and enlivens all the chakras in my body, all the energy sources in my body. My body is hollow in the sense that it's like a tube. But the Shakti energy in me is so dense and powerful, moving and flowing very slowly throughout my body, like streams or waves of energy. Shakti feels like being in an ocean of energy, and you're floating in that ocean. And she's in you and around you. She comforts you and loves you. She gives you stories to entertain you, but hopes that you see her through the stories, behind the stories. She's always vying for your attention. Whether you're involved with your family, reading a book, watching television, eating, praying, meditating. Shakti is there, hoping you'll notice her so that she can love you and you can love her. That was Kundalini in the 1960s. And then in 2010, there was Janet. And I repeat these stories over and over and over and over again because they have a one simple tale to tell. That when it comes to spiritual evolution, there is nothing that beats being in love. With Janet, I loved her like a woman. We never had sex, but we talked about sex. She would have orgasm after orgasm as we spoke of our love for each other. Finally, through her, I found God, the life force, which arose in me and exploded. And then she left. She went on to awaken, or tried to awaken, other people, like Shakti had awakened me. That was her job. That was Janet's job. I even sent Janet to Chaitanananda, possibly to work the same magic on him as she worked on me. But it didn't happen. I saw that he was blocked from having a truly open heart and loving fully. He had great power, great understanding, unparalleled understanding. But he was closed, probably because of years of scandal and being careful about what he says and does around students. But when he said he loved me, I didn't feel it. It was mechanical. And Janet felt the same way. So I said to her to go to Chaitanananda, where she's been for 4 or 5 years, and more or less has disappeared. But that's what we are. We're play pieces for Shakti in her own mysterious chess game of energies and love. As I said, I love Janet totally, completely, wholeheartedly, surrenderedly. And when I met her physically, I dropped to the ground, just held on to her feet. She was so perplexed, she didn't know what to do. So she dropped to the ground next to me. And that's the way we stayed for a long time. I loved her totally as a woman. And that transformed into loving God, the life force within me. And having the life force, Shakti revealed herself to me in a form of light, like electricity, white light, ever changing in form, dancing like a flame, no constancy of form, and with enormous power, like a Mount Everest, not 30,000 feet tall, but 600,000 or 1,000,000 feet tall. Just total awe. And Shakti raced through me then, like never before, with total energy, total control of the entire universe. And then she went away. Not Shakti, but Janet. Seven years later, a woman I had known for many, many years, Dia, came and stayed with me again for a month in October of last year, along with Max and Michael. And once again, I loved so deeply. But I didn't love Dia as a woman. I loved her as a goddess. She was God herself. She was Shakti, pure Shakti. And that brought my fourth great awakening of the total power of Shakti. The knowledge of Shakti, the experience of Shakti. But mostly the total power of this absolutely dense energy of Shakti that can be so dense, she's like a rock, like a boulder, solidity with infinite power wrapped in, a lot like an atomic nucleus. Just pure power wrapped in a small package, which we shared as a common experience of utter suspension, of normal consciousness and being immersed in an atomic furnace of dense energies while looking out onto a golf course. Then she too disappeared to go on to her next one to enlighten, to give her energy to do whatever she does. But it wasn't Dia as a person. It wasn't Janet as a person. It wasn't Ed as a person. But it was as incarnations of Shakti, incarnations of the life force. And this is what I give to you. A knowing of Shakti and the importance of love in gaining her attention. And when you become open to Shakti, she loves you because you've never been loved before. And you find out she's your true love. That all human relationships have really been with her. All love relationships have really been with Shakti. Shakti in your heart with the Shakti in her heart. All of us are incarnations of Shakti, of divine love, of the life force. So while we're playing around, pretending to be a human being, taking courses, reading books, listening to television, ranting at Trump, making money, working at a job, sitting in satsang, praying silently to God for something or other. It's all just a story. The truth is, we're all instantiations of God, finding God. It's all a play of consciousness. So, your job, while you're still being a human, is to learn how to love yourself, to be very quiet, to sink into yourself, in a totally relaxed way. Not doing self-inquiry, not looking for the I am, but just sinking into yourself and being open and accepting to whatever you experience, whether it's beingness, whether it's a thought, whether it's an image, whether it's energies or bliss, whether it's hearing a song, whether it's feeling loved or loving. You just be all of it. You don't observe it. You be it. It's about feeling, not about seeing. And the end stage is being fully descended as your consciousness, totally throughout your body. Being totally incarnated as a body and experiencing everything through the medium of your body, instead of being in your head, instead of being in thoughts, instead of being in judgment, instead of being lost in emotions of sadness, anger, hurt, wanting, thinking about what should be, and instead just being without all that burden of thought and judgment, of thinking and desire, of formulating what you want or don't want, what you reject or accept. You get out of your mind and get into your body totally. And you know who I'm talking to right now. There are a few here I'm talking to directly. Get out of your mind, your judgment about what you want or don't want, what love is or should be, what your life is or should be, whether you're getting all that you wanted or not, or you're being frustrated at every move. That's all in your mind. Drop into your body, totally into your body, and experience life from there and love from there. Experience my love from that point, and don't let your mind intrude and poison it. Now I explained how I felt Shakti within my body. But I'm also feeling like I'm immersed in an ocean of Shakti with currents going everywhere, spinning, twirling, rotating, some with light, some as dark energy, some looking like lava, some looking like golden suns, spinning all around me and then going through me. An infinite amount of energy waiting to do my bidding. But it's never really my bidding. She's choosing for me what to attend to, who to attend to. She brings someone in front of me, and I love them with all my heart. And they feel this, and it awakens the Shakti in them, and they love me back. And soon they can learn to love Shakti in the same way. And then it doesn't depend on me, my presence. It only depends on you and your sensitivity and awareness of Shakti. Once you can feel her, don't wait. Right away, try to develop a personal relationship with Shakti, with the energies inside of you, with the energies that surround you. Love her, Speak with her. You don't have to verbalize it. It can be subverbal. But Shakti, know this, Shakti always attends to someone who is in love. And someone who is in love will experience Shakti totally. The experiences go together. Let's say you fall in love with someone. You don't want to be separated from them. You want to be with them. And then suddenly, there's a power within you that amplifies this feeling tenfold. And energy seems to flow from your heart with this love, intensely, intensifying, and sending this love to another, to the other. Maybe you call her or him and talk over the phone, feeling this love and this Shakti. And they feel it too. It jumps from you into them. And you entrance them with your energy, with your love. And in their entrancement, they begin to know Shakti. It's not really you that they're trying to love, but Shakti itself. She's always there, just not visible to most people. Most people think it's the guru, but it's not the guru. It's Shakti through the guru. The guru is nothing. The guru is a shell, a plaything for Shakti's manifestation in your spiritual growth, in your spiritual evolution towards love and bliss and energies. Does anybody have any questions?
Ed, I have a question.
Yes.
So when you say feel the Shakti in the body, how should I feel the Shakti in my body? Is it like a white light or golden light or something else?
No, you feel it. Feel it first. Feel it like you used to feel the electricity in your body.
That's how I usually feel it, or I'm feeling, that's how I'm feeling. Should I passively pay attention to it or do something like imagining the movement or moving it from one place to another?
Say that again, slowly.
Should I passively pay attention to
Yes.
the energy?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Not
immerse in the energies. Immerse in the energies, and they'll grow. And as they grow, they'll take on different forms and different colors. And you'll see movements of currents, and then you can begin playing with the currents.
Thank you.
Bow to Shakti. Thank her for being in you. Thank her for loving you. And she'll love you back tenfold. This is not Robert Adams stuff. This is not at all Robert or Ramana or Nisargadatta. This goes way past where they were. They stopped at emptiness and being the witness. And they missed the energy. They missed the bliss. They miss her companionship. Anybody else?
Hello, Ed. How are you?
Good.
So I think that the guru is like an open door revealing the light of Shakti.
Good. I say that. Yep.
Yeah. And once the Shakti is revealed, then it's up to the person to develop. Once they have tasted the nature, of communing with Shakti, then it could be a personal relationship with the person rather than just through the guru.
I think at first it's got to be through the guru.
Yeah.
And then when the Shakti becomes strong and is present, even without the presence of the guru, that's when you can just immerse into Shakti, feel Shakti for a long while, and develop a personal relationship at that point.
The way you explain Shakti is way more eloquent and better descriptive than I could ever do, but it's much my experience. The currents are kind of like what you'd get in a lake or the ocean. And I would say the color for me is often like golden, silvery. You talked about the density, and the density is kind of like multi-dimensional gold. The same way that actual gold is much more dense and precious than a cardboard cutout photograph of gold. The Shakti is like billions of times more dense, extending without boundary, without limit. But it can also be extremely subtle, so it can vary according to one's attention and one's needs. And it seems to me like Shakti is having a romance with me, wants me to fall in love. Sorry?
Yes, exactly. Shakti can also be felt, like you said, like a gentle wind blowing through your heart, your open, empty heart. And that's so delightful to feel it that way. She can have many different, a whole spectrum of ways of interrelating with you that will tickle you, awaken different parts of you, awaken different parts of love, different kinds of energies, different kinds of realizations. And you'll be playing with her all the time. Just like Ramakrishna never wanted to let go of Kali. Kali is another form of Shakti, her name for Shakti. He says you can have the void, you can have the absolute, you can have the witness, but I want my Kali. And Kali will gradually take on a more and more intimate form for you. Maybe a vision of Kali, like for you, for Ramakrishna, or for me, like a dancing energy around me everywhere, that just wants to attend to me, and yet at the same time leads me from event to event, from lover to lover, to student, sort of revealing Shakti each time in a different way.
I just want to add that for me, she appears as a field of bliss or euphoria. At first in small parts of my aura, but as I focus on it, it becomes like a sheet, like my whole awareness floods with a sheet of it. And if I had to ascribe a color, it would be gold. And like I said, multi-dimensional bliss with infinite extension. And it always feels just right. And it feels like my human personality, except on a cosmic level, on a divine cosmic level.
Yes.
And
definitely
one more
a different dimension.
Yeah, but it has my flavor to it, and because I'm experiencing it. The other thing I want to add is that this is the same experience I've had my whole life in peak or transcendental experiences, but like a direct connection to it rather than an intermittent chance, visitation. Rather than an intermittent chance visitation of Shakti, like I would have when I wasn't guided as to, this is like I can go to the source and commune with the source at will and get drink from the source and get supplied so that I can carry it around with me and continue my communion. So that's all I wanted to say. I'd let others talk now.
Thank you. Love your experience. Anybody else?
Hi, Ed.
Yes, Michael.
What's interesting, what I've experienced is that Shakti's a lot like water, and that first it started into my physical seeped into my mental, emotional planes, and then immersed, I would even say, in like a causal plane, and then it would blend with my environment. And then there's like a marriage with stillness, and that becomes so magical. And then you can't even describe what it is once it starts marrying with that, the stillness.
Precisely so. There, it's an irony when you state it to outsiders that when you know Shakti, you know a world that's in self that's constantly changing, of form and processes and interflowing, but at the same time, there's an absolute constancy. There's something that's behind or in front of or around or surrounding the movement, and they're both together. So you've created, what do you call it? A paradox becomes a unity. Form and emptiness, emptiness and form, feeling, thought, and consciousness are also like this. Somebody can read the chat questions to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna do this now if you let me, but Mohammed, talk with you. Wanted to read or might have something
Read it.
to talk?
Read it.
Okay, I feel Shakti as a mother who hugs me, a very tall, naked woman who hugs me and soaring milk and honey on me, which makes me feel ecstatic and devotional.
Who said this?
Mohammed.
Muhammad, you're right on. That's also an experience you can have with Shakti. It's one of the kind that's most common, but she can have many different forms. But what you're feeling is the classical form of Ma Shakti, Mother Shakti, comforting you, holding you, loving you, taking care of your every need. Is that the only question? Was that the only one? What, he just said something. What did he just say, Maria?
No. Just think to me to read to him. Just that.
Anybody else? Tonita?
Yeah, I'd like to follow on what Michael was saying about, I don't know if you used the word married, of Shiva and Shakti, and that's something that's become stronger in my own experience. And when I sit, that increase, it used to be more, I would focus on the stillness, or I would be more caught up in the movement. And more, there is that sense that the deeper, it's like it's like they're mated. And the more, it's like I feel them both together now, more and more. And it becomes very strong.
It doesn't feel paradoxical at all, does it?
No, it feels like marrying myself. It feels like just marrying myself, like just that's the only way I can describe it. But no, it's not paradoxical. It's like the dualities coming together, and it actually becomes incredibly powerful.
Yes, precisely.
So anyway.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah, I'm so grateful, just the blessings that have come since that despair at the end of Maui, and being here with spiritual family. And actually, maybe I should just share that with the other people who go through, as I have, just riding the waves of the Kundalini, right? And I guess I would say what made such a huge difference for me very recently is just having good spiritual friends. Like right now I'm staying I'm cat sitting, dog sitting, shopping, cleaning. Like I'm doing things, but while I'm sort of in transition, I guess, and just having spiritual family where I'm not judged, that is huge. It takes the edge off the experience. It just changes it from Kali into just golden bliss, you know. It changes it from that fierce aspect of the Shakti. And so yeah, spiritual friends where it's at.
Notice, I think 4 of us have mentioned the color gold today. And that is very important to feel and to see that golden light. I call it grace. There's something that sort of humbles you. And then through that humbleness, you lose all of the guilt, all of the, what would you call it? Shame, guilt, fear, envies that you had before, and become very humble, very small, too small to have those big feelings like shame and guilt and sin. Anybody else? Vesselina, do you want to say something?
I feel like I'm in the wrong room. Because I can't say something nice, really.
Ed.
I wait for Vesselina to finish.
Okay, sorry.
I'm waiting for my mother to leave the room.
Oh,
But she is very amused. So no, that's it. I just I don't feel Shakti. I feel anger and pain from life. I
you
don't
what?
know. I feel anger and pain. I feel life very painfully. I don't feel this benevolence and everything flowing and nice, beautiful feelings.
Check into what they feel like, really. Get into
Yeah,
that feeling. Get into that feeling and explore it.
Yeah, I see it's not very real, but I can tell all the time. I'm not reassured of it.
You know, you look like a movie star. And you could be one. Not a movie star. But you could be a goddess. Except for your mind. That fills you with shame, anger, hurt. But those things are just stories attached to certain feelings inside of yourself. And you give the name hurt, anger. But if you really take a look at it, it'll just be movements of energy inside of your chest or your head or your gut. And when you can see them as just energies without the name, they begin to change and become more benevolent and less painful. Just look at them and feel them without giving the name of hurt, or anger. Just let them be there without the interpretation. Feel them as they really are. In other words, change the story. Hey, you little beggars. I don't fear you at all. I accept your presence in me and realize I may have been misperceiving what you are by giving you a name. Please allow me to feel your true form within my gut, within my heart. Don't let me fool myself by giving it a false name. What is it that I feel inside of me? Is it not just a different energy, a different twisting of my gut inside in a different way? It feels physical. It feels like a hurt, a pain. But if I looked at it in a relaxed way, leave out 3 or 4 deep breaths to let me relax. Let my whole body and my mind to relax. And what are those feelings now? What form do they take? Do I have to attach a label to them? Do I have to call them sadness or hurt or depression or anger? Can I let go of the labels and see how they really feel? What are you feeling now?
I'm just angry because you tried to steal this from me.
You're angry because I'm trying to steal your anger from you?
Yeah,
You want your story?
yes.
You're a hard nut to crack, said Veselina. A hard nut to crack.
I think I know.
Anybody else want to direct some anger or hurt at me? Blame me for something or other? I'm open to it.
I just want to thank you. And maybe have some times that I feel a lot of angry, but I don't know. Don't take too long. So I just want to thank you, really, for do all of this. Great. Thank you so much.
Maria is a future witch, a future sorceress. I'm going to take all of those wild energies in her and direct them in one way, which is to develop her powers with Shakti.
Okay, now I'm really angry with you.
You didn't know that she's really a lot younger than she looks. She's only 12 years old. We got her here on a provisional basis.
I just have one ear. You don't have any idea. It just my face, you know. But I have one ear.
I have no idea what that means.
Forget it.
I will.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Or do you want to carry that a little further, Maria? You want to go on with this a little more? You want to play a little more?
What do you say? Say again. Say
You
one more time.
You want to go on with this a little more? Should we play this a little more?
Let's play. Why not?
Okay. Go for it. You start.
Start with. I don't know. What?
I won. I won.
Say one more time.
I won.
What? One more time, just slowly.
You lost.
I'm not lost. I just trying to understand what you're saying. Just that.
Okay, go back to Brazil now.
I'm
Go
in
back.
Brazil.
Stay there.
I cannot go
Rio.
out of here.
Stay in Rio.
Okay.
Anybody else want to play? Padma was smiling. Do you want to play? You know, notice Max every week. He hides by disappearing, by laying back and pretending to be asleep, so he'll be left out of this. Max, how are you doing? Now he'll give a thumbs up or something non-committal.
I'm okay. My exam is in 2 days.
Wonderful.
Bit more than a week till I go to Phoenix.
Are you feeling anxious about the test?
A little.
You feeling anxious about Phoenix?
Not too much.
You should be.
Yeah, maybe it will come. I don't know.
Okay. Anybody else? Tanita?
Third, I got a question.
Ooh.
Oh,
Vijay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel or practice my body like a hollow tube and start scanning it, or just pay attention to the emptiness in the body like a tube, like an empty hollowness. Well, like for example, to practice quantum touch exercises, I had to feel energy rising through the emptiness, the tube, the hollowness of the body.
Right.
Is that okay to do that?
No,
Is my
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's a great exercise. Quantum touch is a great way to learn how to perceive and feel energies. Tonita.
yes. This is following a little bit of what you were saying to Vasilina about, you know, something that feels like a contraction or negative emotion, to just go into the nature of it, right? And one thing I've noticed pretty consistently with the Shakti is that it really responds to my emotions or what I'm thinking or believing in any moment. It's almost like instant karma. It's like an agent of instant karma, so that, I mean, I've noticed if there's a moment of fear, like it feels like contraction suddenly. And then if someone calls, or there's a loving gesture, or I connect with an animal or whatever, just something breaks it and the energy softens, and immediately I feel the response in the energy. And I've noticed also, like lately, the energy's been a lot below the solar plexus and working its way through the brainstem, you know, and or especially when I get migraines and everything is so subtle, like literally I can feel when a thought goes, right? Or as I was saying, there's been a lot of movement in the abdomen, very painful at times. But what I've noticed is that when I wake up, very first thing in the morning, before any thought, before any motion, before anything gets going, that contraction isn't there. And then it takes a little bit of being conscious, and it's almost like then it starts running again. But I notice in first thing, that contraction or that can often not be there, and it almost seems like it's coming somehow through consciousness, through the contents of consciousness.
Where is the energy most powerfully felt in your body?
At the moment?
Generally.
I mean, that's a thing, is there is no general. It's completely, it really depends how I abide in myself, you know, where I'm focusing the center of energy, how I'm focusing it, the emotions. It feels often like it's just feeding back to me, myself at the moment.
That's too general. Get more specific.
Well, okay, so more recently, I've been focusing on just deep relaxation, you know, engaging the sexual energies, the root, the legs, feeling.
That's perfect. Waken
and
up.
just deepening it, and just feeling.
Waken up the feelings in the vagina in your womb and center in them for a long period of time. That will do more wonders to get you to reincarnate into your body by going so deeply into the body rather than stopping at the head, the heart, or the gut, to go all the way down into your pussy and feel God there, feel the life force there, feel Shakti there. And that way it has much more strength. It'll shoot through your body as a very dense energy. Your whole body will be in a kind of ecstasy, awakened by the sexual energy and the predominance of the sexual energy in your awakening.
I do feel that as well.
Good.
And that's what I mean, is that it's almost like I could make it, not but yeah, it's so responsive to where the attention is focused. And
this is right-handed
state.
tantra. Left-handed tantra is working directly through physical sex and different techniques. Right-handed tantra is learning how to direct the energies, especially the sexual energies, to awaken up the rest of your body and the rest of your psyche without actually practicing physical sex of any sort.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty familiar with that path.
Anybody else? Okay. I repeat, I love you all. I'll see you next Thursday at 11 if you're coming. Our group has shrunk a little. Angela is at a family get-together and couldn't come. Others are missing too. We'll see what happens. Thank you all so much for being here. And I'll see you next Thursday, and if not then, Sunday. Bye-bye. And by the way, Max, break a leg on that test. Bye-bye.